Men of Reddit, what are some immediate red flags in men that women should look out for? This is one most women learn themselves around high school, but still worth mentioning now. If he's an asshole to everyone but you, that doesn't mean he thinks you're special. It means he is an asshole, but knows how to not be an asshole in order to get laid. Even if he treats you different now, he will treat you the same way he treats everyone else eventually. Lesson learned. Avoid people who are very polite and charming when they want something from those above them, but are arrogant and demanding when they think they can take something from those below them. People who smile up and kick down are the worst. Yep. You can tell a lot about the character of anyone by the way they treat those they don't have to treat well. Lack of respect for boundaries. Pushing small boundaries that aren't a big deal. Then, once called out on it, backpedaling, apologizing for it, and then doing it again. My old boss and current supervisor. Emotional manipulation. Trying to guilt trap you. To give an example, I was hearing from a friend who's a woman currently dating, telling you that you're being jealous when they are intentionally creating situations which would cause that. This guy in particular was continually describing past experiences with girls and how aspects of that were better than what my friend had with him currently. Only talks about themselves. Hi. What's your name? Bob. Great. But that's enough about you, Bruce. Let's talk about me. Refusing to admit that they could possibly be wrong. I have seen many men get super frustrated and aggressive over the idea that they could be possibly wrong about something. To add on to this, many of these same men, when presented with the proof of them being wrong, they will either deflect or make it seem like it doesn't matter and that you were making such a big deal about this. We are all humans and we all make mistakes. I feel for many of these men, they feel stupid and less manly if they are wrong about something. Being able to accept your mistakes and move on is a healthy trait. The opposite side of this is far worse. Someone who gaslights you into believing that you never admit that you're wrong or don't admit to your flaws. When someone is stubborn and won't admit they are wrong when they clearly are, it's obvious to everyone, and it's easy to know when you should just walk away. When someone tries to convince you that you are stubborn and never admit to being wrong, even when you do, and that they are the one who keeps having to do it, it can become very difficult to see through their bullshit and you can start to doubt your own self-awareness. Inability to compromise. Man, I got into a days-long fight with my best friend because she wouldn't goddamn concede that mocha is coffee plus chocolate, not just chocolate. She worked at Starbucks FFS. Tried to find a less common one for people looking for a long-term partner. Beware when someone complains about everything and is seemingly the victim in every situation. This is the type of person that will very quickly blame you if anything goes wrong and is likely shitting on you to other people already. Secondly, it means you will be perpetually drained by the negativity over the long haul. I think I used to be like that. I went through some shit alright, but I think it became just a very good excuse. I got better by taking as much responsibility as I could. This by trying to be as honest as I could. Like I'd fight with my wife, and it started out, in my head, as she's wrong, I'm right. But I tried to honestly ask myself, even if she was wrong, how many percent the escalation was my fault? Like, could there be something, anything at all that I could have done better to make the situation better? Turn out when you ask this question, damn, the answer is yes, almost always. Suddenly flying off the handle at a minor inconvenience. It's one thing to stub your toe at the end of a bad day and give the table a whack. It's another if every moment of stress or misfortune triggers rage. I was dating a girl and forgot to lock her car door when we got out to go into a Walgreens for some snacks. She absolutely lost it, like screaming and crying, for about 20 minutes. I just sat silently, took it, and then asked to meet her the next day, and broke up with her because I was not comfortable with that explosion over anything. Especially a mistake that I could have easily just started paying more attention to. Sexual pressure after you directly reject an advance. Healthy people with your interests in mind only need to hear no one time and are respectful of boundaries if they bring it up again in the future. This is one that legitimately baffles me. How could you even want to have sex with someone that isn't into it with you? I mean, obviously, they have no issue with that, or they wouldn't do it. But I wouldn't be able to enjoy a movie if I thought the person next to me wasn't having a good time. How on earth Is their skin not crawling at the thought that they are not on board with it over something infinitely more intimate? Blows my mind. Inability to clean up after themselves or do common household tasks. I've tried telling my brother's GF that he's basically completely incapable of taking care of himself, but she keeps believing his "well, I work nights and I don't want to wake anyone up" BS. If he talks about his ex too much, as someone who was in love with an ex for way too long, I was not ready for a relationship with anyone else. Some red flags are not signs the person is malicious. Sometimes they are signs they are not ready for a new relationship. When he is just a collection of squirrels in a trench coat. At least this way you'll definitely get a nut. All of their ex-partners are crazy. I have a former friend like this. While his exes tended to be crazy, he was even crazier. I think crazy attracts crazy. If he's cheating on someone else with you, he will absolutely cheat on you with someone else. When a man leaves his wife and marries his mistress, it creates a job opening. Controlling tendencies. Same for women tbh. I work in a bar. Seen a lot of first date happening. I remember that one couple came at my bar for the first date. They played pool. The guy was showing her how to play. At first it may look cute, but he was constantly telling her how to play, where to aim on the white ball. When she missed, he was taking the white ball back, replace it until she hit the way he told her to. Every single time. My mind went, oh girl, hope you wake up, because you will be in a lot of trouble. Well, sadly they end up together. They came back at my bar couple of times and boy, he treated her like crap. Guy was absolutely toxic. If you go to a bar for your date, sit at the bar. When the guy will go to the bathroom, feel free to ask us what we think. We see things that you might not. And feel free to ask for help if you feel uncomfortable or in bad situations. We will help you. Does he talk about always being ready to fight if necessary? Then he's a lunatic. Well-adjusted people in things like MMA don't want to fight randomly and don't seek it out outside of the sport of it. Half the point is to have a place for your aggression in a controlled setting. I love martial arts. I'm a black belt, but I do not want to fight anyone because I end up injured, dead or in jail. There is no situation where I win. Going on and on about themselves. Arrogance is such a turn off. This is a good one. If a guy will not shut up about himself and never asks you anything, then you're never more than a side character in his front stage show about himself. You're not his equal. A man that blames everyone else for his problems, lack of job, lack of friends, money, etc. Some that is unwilling to take personal responsibility for improving his situation in life. If he agrees with everything you say, it's likely that he's not being himself, and that he's telling you what he thinks you want to hear, which he thinks may help him get what he wants. I seldom disagree with my wife, because we share a lot of opinions, and the few we disagree on aren't worth a fight. There's a difference between being agreeable and agreeing to everything. If he claims all his exes were crazy or similar, think for a second about what was the common factor in all those relationships. Him. If you smell shit everywhere you go, check your own shoes. If his first reaction to any type of minor conflict is anger. Here, when I mean conflicts I mean little things, disagreeing with a fact stated, where to have dinner, minor customer service issues. If the first tool they reach for is anger for minor things, that is the tool they will always reach for first. People change, but this is a pretty fundamental personality aspect and unlikely outside of intervention. That how he treats people in service industry. I couldn't exactly explain due to English being not my native language, but let's say he treats waiters like an asshole, orders him/her around, like they are beneath him. This is a clear red flag. You could not really find better example of his lack of character. Agreed, and your English is totally fine. Can't take no as an answer. Acting as if fucking the whole world is an achievement. If he wants to be with you, then he will be with you. Trust his actions, not his words. Amazes me how many women let themselves get dragged along like this, not realizing they are one of many he is leading on. You might think you're special, but if a guy isn't committing to you, it's because he doesn't want to, and is likely pursuing other options. The first time he ever controls what the woman can and can't do, spend. Control in a relationship means one thing, it is and will always be able him, and his need first. Gets her angry when confronted for something they did or didn't do. Can't admit faults. If he is overtly angry when you talk to other people, specifically other men, that's a major red flag, and he's probably gonna start to be possessive over you by not letting you talk to anyone else. Edit, wrong word. If he doesn't put in an effort to make you happy, it doesn't have to make you happy whatever he does, but the fact he's putting in the effort means he truly cares about you enough that he cares about your mental health as well. Goes both ways. Never talks to you about yourself, never takes an interest in your hobbies, what you've been up to, etc. Actually scarily common in guys. It's probably the most common symptom of being self-centered AF. And yay, someone can be like this and still be nice to you, but they don't necessarily value you. Asshole with men, kind with, often pretty and younger, women. Are the classic I don't know why you don't like him, he's such a sweet guy. Calls himself an alpha, calls other men a beta, calls women females, and is generally intimidated by women. Tempers. Some guys you can see from a mile away that they have anger issues and are looking for fights. Guys who have not tried living without their parents. Wants to clean, cook and take care of man baby. Can be okay, but be very carefully before moving in together for any long-term solution. And guys who don't see women as people. They come in many shapes though. The Barney Stinsons who will be charming and pick up all the girls, but see them as objects. The nerdy guys who never talk to a girl and think they are a different species. That rich guy being a sugar daddy, the poor guy who thinks girls don't know how hard it is, since they can just talk flirty and get things. One saying I've always lived by is, pay attention to how they treat waitresses. How they treat waitresses today is how they will treat you in 6 months. So when he's flirting with the waitress, he's marriage material. Manipulators, men that use emotions, anger, sadness, etc. to get you to do things you don't want to do. The worst ones are subtle ones. They chip away at you over time. Anyone who makes it hard for you to have friends should make you run and never turn back. Tell you what to do, how you should think, who you should see, what you should eat or wear. Inability to say sorry when they do something wrong. For the love of God, make sure he can function like an adult. You know, cook a few dishes, do laundry, clean up after himself, go to work on time. I cannot stand when women complain about how the manchildren they start dating still being manchildren years later. Big shocker. If their mom still does their laundry, even though they're 36 years old. I moved back to my home state and this is a phenomenon I have noticed all over this area. The grown-ass men who can't do their own damn laundry. Not like, oh, yeah, someone else happens to do my laundry, and I do other chores, to make that shit equal. But straight up, does not know how, to the point that when single they have to drive over to their mama's house and hang out, like it's a goddamn full service laundromat and even have sandwiches while they wait.